Let me give the audience 10 minutes to exchange before we get to the financial perspective of the cultural industry here in Nigeria.
Really, one thing I want to know strongly, and it was pointed out by where Bond also alluded to it, is this issue of government involvement. I think we shouldn't get it wrongly. In this our industry, there's a need for government involvement in terms of provision of infrastructure. I think Bond goes his wires crossed when he said that when the Babasalas and others were doing, they were funded by government. No, they were not. They were strictly business. And some of it I was a participant. Because there was no time government has been involved in any area of the film industry in Nigeria, except when they want their propaganda in whatever you're doing. So when I'm talking about funding, I mean government involvement has to do with structure. If we know the situation with telecoms in Nigeria, or the government came in and they kind of guided them as regards the licenses in the private sector and all that, and they put in place some structures. That's why we have everybody using GSM today, and the operators are smiling to the bank. What we're asking for in the motion picture industry is a situation where government puts in place the right policies, regulation. In Nigeria, we cannot regulate ourselves. People make reference to America and other countries where they're self-regulatory. In Nigeria, it's an all-commerce affair. In those industries, in those climes, there are certain standards that for you to want to sing, you must do voice training. In Nigeria, my mom can get up tomorrow if I phone her and decide to sing some rap. Right? But in those climes, they compare us to, they have unwritten regulation that they all abide by. But for Nigeria, for things to work, like Bond said, it was an happenstance the way the whole thing started. Even in the days of the Olabalogun, the Ogun days and all that, it wasn't a structured thing. So for us to get things right, that regulation, the Mopicon bill is talking about, will have to go in place. We're not trying, it's not a situation where people will be denied, but there need to be entry and exit qualifications, requirements. In your school here, just not anybody will come and say, oh, I want to be part of your school. They must have some requisite things that you will demand of them. That's what we're talking about now. In terms of other structures, like Efele said about the copyright law, it is there, but needs strengthening, and we take advantage of it. Right? The policies are there, the government shall do this, the government shall, in the cultural policy. So we can't shy away from it. The government gets to take a stand and they must do something about the industry. Thank you.
My name is Amdia, I teach here. My question is directed to Mr. Bond Emeruwa. Thank you for your presentation. I want to find out if theatrical releases is really the solution to piracy. I'm made to understand that even in the cinemas, people go with their cameras to video while it is screening. I don't know how that works because TK showed me the pirated copy of EJ even before it was on DVD. And then he said that his own mommy, before he put it on, he hasn't even put it yet, but it's already, people are already streaming it on the internet, and someone else is being paid to allow people to screen. So I really want to know if the theatrical releases will guarantee the success that the filmmakers want. Thank you.
Well, something related, because the digital setting that we have found ourselves is changing the rules of the game. A few weeks ago, we had the drama of my Oga at the top. Now, interestingly, and as funny as it may sound, for me, that guy has been robbed of his copyright. Because, no, it's true. That guy has made a lot of people very rich. I have the music, I have the t-shirt, I have the beats, and only because of that, my Oga at the top. And that guy has been suspended, he doesn't have money, he's been ridiculed and all of that. But really, should that have been copyrighted? Should that guy be making money out of this? So this is something I want us to reflect on, because who then claims that copyright? The originality of my Oga at the top really should belong to that guy. And we know that it's that guy. So somehow, even beyond that, there are quite a number of things that I saw there that I was amazed. www. That is serious. And it created a lot of waves. You know, it was trending at the time, and so many things. And this guy had nothing but problems coming into that. He should have at least gotten some copyright money.
My name is Duka. Forget it's Duka. It's a pity I feel it's not here. My comment is basically about the Copyright Commission issues raised in the area. I think it goes beyond just enforcement. I will wish most of us here visit the office in Lagos, as an example. They are not even encouraged to even perform their duties. You go there for a whole day, there's no light. Not even the, what they call that small generator, to even power their office. You see their staff looking very hungry, sad, disappointed, dejected, and you expect them to enforce your rights. I'll give you a good example. 2 years ago, exactly 2 years, about 2 years, by tomorrow, 2 years, I had this issue with a cable network that took one of my content, a film that I got financing from the bank. The film has not been on any platform in the last 4 years. They took this film, put it on air, and because the Copyright Commission went to their office, raided the cable network. But unfortunately for them, they could not even empower their rights. I couldn't even empower my right because even the Copyright was so laid back at the point they didn't even have vehicles to move out of any car they will go with. At the point I even was doing that, even the other party was even funding their movements too. So when you talk about enforcement, I think like what Tono met me about a year ago, we discussed this issue. Is the basic thing that what are the laws? But when even the government is not even encouraging agencies of government. That's a fact. Look at it, even the Copyright Commission was the Minister of Culture at the point in time. Today they are with the Minister of Justice. We are so far from them. When we have events, they will tell you we are not part of you. We are with the Justice Minister. While most of us are with the Minister of Information. I think I will stop here. Thank you.
There's really no foolproof method against vice. But first and foremost, a lot of people have gotten it wrong in the sense that Miami wasn't pirated in the cinema. Miami was pirated before it went to the cinema. Thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot. Yes. He doesn't have the copyright. It's Channel TV.
Thank you very much. My name is Issa Mamo. I also teach here. My question is not to Bond, it's to all of us to think that whether the theater form of distribution still addresses the problems of the film industry in a digital distribution age. Not digital production now, digital distribution. We really have to think about that before we copy formats that already exist.
I think that it's an overlap. We shouldn't really say government shouldn't fund. But something we must bear in mind with respect to the Nigerian government scheme, their friends at Bank of Industry and Exim Bank, it is a industry stimulation fund. They never say they're going to be here forever funding the film industry. They want to stimulate the private sector to bring the funds into it. So it's a fantastic thing they've done. You know, they want to stimulate, and I dare say GT Bank have been stimulated to fund the education of the creative industry that we are here today. It's important that this government funding works at this stage. Then they will stimulate the growth. Then the private sector can then take over. And that's what they do. So I think from a funding point of view, government has a very crucial role to play.
I think in order we have been discussing, one of the major problems, and what I consider to be the main problem, it is the lack of legislation or act for this body. Well, my sense, if there is an act, regulating the practice of Nollywood in Nigeria, the mode of entry will be stated and the mode of exit will be stated. Who and who is qualified to be a member of the Nollywood practitioners of Nigeria? If these conditions are stated clearly, it won't be an all-comers affair, whereby if I know how to sing, I will now start singing, and then I will now be showcased on TV. And people say that, oh, this guy knows how to sing, please let us bring him to this place. We also have those ones that are called themselves comedy or whatever. There are so many actors in this entertainment industry. So the best thing that we have to do, which I would want, if possible, for you to see how we can start it as quick as possible, is the legislation. What is the involvement of the practitioners towards having an enabling act? The members of the National Assembly, what are they doing towards making sure that there should be the kind of the UK body that we are talking about, the UK. Okay. So what I'm saying is that we have to try as much as we can to have the Nigerian practitioner, I mean the Body Practitioner Council of Nigeria, so that when you have that council, the council will now be regulating the mode of entry, and of course, through their charter, what at all will be there for people to now be members of the body. The whole thing will be properly regulated. If that is not done, honestly speaking, it will now be seen to be different.
Thank you everybody for the beautiful exchange. Okay, the next paper and final paper we are all excited to listen to is Financing the Creative Industries, the Innovative Role of GT Bank. Please join me in welcoming the General Manager, GT Bank, Mrs. Lola Odedina.
Good afternoon. I'll make this a very brief, crisp and short presentation because I think you guys have said most of it. The question I believe on everybody's lips today is why GT Bank? Why are we doing this? Sorry, let me try. That goes right. I'll just give you a brief summary. The way films are being produced and consumed has changed this landscape, and we understand that. We've all talked about it differently. Appetites and tastes are changing rapidly, and we really have, thank you very much, and we really have to understand where these trends are going to. We are, even as the bank, are looking at that as well. Access has been simplified with the growth of internet penetration in Nigeria. We all can see that. Barriers have obviously been lowered. Somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was a fairy who said, content is king. Truly, it's content, content, content. But don't forget, it's also quality, quality, quality. We mustn't. So we talked about financing. Why is Guaranteed Trust Bank getting into this? I'll tell you a little story. In 2001, or was it 2000? We all sat at the Pan-African University, the Aja campus. We sat in a room with, I believe, a few people here. I believe my brother, Mahmoud Ali Balogun, was there. Are you right? Can you remember? Can you remember that meeting?
Yeah,
we had Amaka Igwe, we had... I'll tell you, I used to wear a different cap then. I used to be the manager at our Broad Street branch then, and I had set up the entertainment desk for the bank. Ifeanyi Ozango sucked me into this business. I met with Chike, I met with all the practitioners. I started to even understand the industry speak. You all taught me, remember?
Yes.
And I remember that day when we were talking, the issues were about distribution, piracy. It's 13 years down the line, we're still saying the same thing. Something has got to change. 13 years, I've heard the same thing for 13 years. Nothing has changed. We understood that Guaranteed Trust Bank, we understood what the peculiarities were in trying to support this industry. Then, back then, and we still do. So when Dr. Mike approached us about supporting this initiative, I said, well, you're talking to the right person because we started this all many, many years ago. So I can see that this industry truly needs support from the financial sector. But the point is, what was said to us 13 years ago was, we need money, but we don't have collateral. Banks are the most highly regulated industry in Nigeria, all over the world today, possibly maybe the FDA. we are highly regulated, which means we just don't go into the vault and give out money and say, well, let's hope your film sells. You pay us, yes, you don't pay us. At a point, one of the distributors mentioned to us then and said, you know, the kind of collateral you want, why don't you can sell our CDs in your banking halls. And that's when we realized that truly there was a problem. He was at the same conference, can't you remember? How could you were there?
We organized it.
Yes!
2001.
Thank you, 2001.
Yes.
This was said at the panel. Sell our CDs and recoup your money from that. We realized it was a problem. But there have been huge strides made, and I must commend all the practitioners. I think you've made Nigeria proud. Honestly, all over the world, everybody has been able to take notice of what Nollywood has done. We will do our own part to ensure that we help in capacity building, because honestly, that's where it starts from. We know that the world is looking at what is happening in this industry. The entry barriers are very low, extremely low. If we don't get content right, if we don't get the distribution right, if we don't understand the trends and where it's going, the predators will come in and they will exploit, and we will still not have been able to reap the fantastic opportunities that lie in this industry. But I believe that that will not be the case, because we're all geared up and ready. So that was just a little summary. I'll just take you quickly through the presentation. You've all listened to the experts talk about it. We are just the lowly bankers trying to see how we can support you. We don't have all the answers. But we're hoping that the relationship we have with the SMC, what we expect is that the SMC will act like the interface between you, the practitioners, on one side, and investors on the other side. Do you know why? Because we don't speak the same language. You don't understand what we're saying, and we don't understand your language, because you are coded differently. Even if I know you need this money, but for as long as you cannot fulfill those requirements that I need, we will never be able to speak the same language. But that's where the SMC comes in, because in capacity building, in advisory services, they will act like the adapter to configure the speak to suit what we want. And once we have that, there will be that connectivity that will help us handshake and be able to support this industry better.